It's Doormat Mom. Welcome back to the Doormat Mom No More podcast. And today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Monica Fuentes, and she's known as the unerased, I think it is mom. Let me see for a second. Unerased mom on TikTok. And I've been watching her. She went by a different name a little bit prior. She changed it. I love her content because it's very heartfelt. She is an estranged mom, and her story really speaks to so many people, so many mothers, because every one of her videos, she literally nearly has me crying. And so I wanted to bring her on to share her with you, tell you her story. And we're going to talk about a video I saw this morning. Normally I share the videos of the guests that I have on if they're estranged parents, but this one sort of struck me. I actually posted it to my Facebook group. Sorry, my dogs are here. Hey, Ramsey, so sorry. My little guy, my Ramsey, who is a Chihuahua, is annoyed with my new puppy. But be that as it may, this came across my Facebook, and I think I'm going to actually have Monica crying by the end of it. I don't know if she's seen it already, but I'm going to bring it on. I'm going to share it, and just hold on, because it's so heartfelt, and I think it speaks to so many parents, moms feel. So let's get this on, and I'm going to run it. Here we go.
I need to share with you. And it says, something I composed last week that is fitting. Abandoned mothers. There is a noxious war being waged against estranged adult children. The actual casualty of the war is the mother. Not the absent mother, not the abusive mother, not the deadbeat mother, not the uncaring mother, but the mother who loved and stayed. The mother who broke herself into pieces to keep everything together. The mother who gave up her own identity so her children could find theirs. The mother who fed, clothed, soothed, worked, and showed up. The mother who may have also had the role of the absent father. These mothers are being told to just quietly and gracefully vanish from the face of the earth, while adult children wage war and whine to others with renditions of their history, childhood, and their relationships with their mothers, and to shut up and accept the blame, to not complain, to not have needs, to not have feelings, to not get tired of blame shifting, to not be hurt, to not be emotional, to not be angry, to not defend themselves, to accept all the reinvention. I can't freaking read, okay? I've already read this once and cried. The mother is diagnosed as a bad person. The mother is labeled as the trigger in their made-up story. The mother is the villain based on untruths. The mother is dehumanized. No one will think to ask for facts. No one will think to seek the truth for content or content. No one will think to help to seek a resolution. No one will think to ask for healing. No one will think the adult children is the problem. No one will think to ask the mother to speak for herself. Instead, they will validate the adult children's. They will determine the mother's entire identity. They will determine the mother is inhuman. They will determine the mother is the villain. They will diagnose the mother without facts. They will let the perpetrator be harmless. In other words, no one will think for themselves. The irony of this war is the mother it must remain silent. The mother is not allowed to get mad. The mother grieves the loss the hardest. The mother hurts the deepest. The mother is not allowed to say a word. The mother is not allowed to have feelings. The mother is not allowed to say how she feels. The mother is not allowed to cry. The mother is not allowed to be exhausted. The mother is not allowed to feel pain. The mother is not allowed to have emotions. The mother is not allowed to have needs. The mother is not allowed to be upset about the made-up stories. The mother must willingly be the scapegoat. The mother must be dehumanized. The mother must accept her rewritten history and identity. Because if she does not accept this role and she speaks up, she will be called manipulative, guilt-tripping, toxic, making it all about herself. She's the problem. If you are the estranged mother, you are the one who willingly paid the cost of childbirth and motherhood and was repaid with blame, silence, betrayal, and distance. So please do not forget. You stayed. You are human. You are a woman. You are not toxic. You are not broken. You are not to blame. You are not defined by the pain inflicted. You are not meant to be silent. You are not judged. You are not meant to vanish quietly. You are not meant to be erased. You did not create the distance. You did not create the situation. You are not disposable. You are loved. You are beautiful, smart, kind, caring, loving, precious, unique, strong, and you happily gave life. And most importantly, it is not you. There's 700 comments on this video. Even though, I find great comfort in the fact that I'm not the only person that this has happened to. But I tell you what, it hasn't gotten easier. And I think that's what I'm waiting for. When does it get easier? When does it stop hurting this bad? It would just make more sense if I was a piece of shit. And I know, God has, a plan. He has a plan for all of this. And I'm going to be fine. I know I'm going to be fine. I know I'm going to come out of this. I know I'm going to be okay. I know God is going to use this for me, for the good of me. I know my son loves me. I know I'm a good mom. But it still hurts. God, it still hurts. So to all the mothers out there, I see you. And all the other mothers that have been through it, they say, it's going to be okay. So we're going to be all right. We're going to be okay. I used to be jealous of, women that had husbands to, love them through these feelings. And I have a husband now, and I don't like to even talk to him about it because, there ain't nothing he can do. I am the women I used to talk about, is my point. And I don't, it still hurts. It hurts the same. It hurts the same. I've done both. It does the same. So, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, ladies. We're gonna get through this. It's gonna be all right. I promise. He promised. We're gonna be okay. I love you.
Okay, so I cried when I looked at that and watched that because it spoke to me on so many levels. The dehumanization of moms, the illogical, consequence of being a devoted parent. Like she said, if we had been pieces of shit, this would make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't think it makes sense to Monica either. Let me bring her on. Did you cry?
I'm making an effort to not cry because I know if I start crying, I will stop. So she spoke my words. what my feelings.
I,
And yeah, see, that's something that happened, that even when I'm trying not to cry, the tears, they go out. But
I
I'm
understand it. Your videos are very similar in the depth of emotion that you share. You're very honest with your emotion. You're very real. She's very real. And I I want you to tell us a little bit about your background. What not only your cultural background to begin with, because I think that's relevant in how this is crossing all cultural boundaries in the United States, and then also let's talk about your own story as much as you're willing to share, and then we'll get on to like the more general subject. But go ahead, you have the floor.
yeah. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for all the work that you are doing for the mothers. We need you, because that work that you are doing, I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is. And you have to be all day, I suppose, on that, dedicating all your time to that. And I'm very grateful.
You're welcome. It's honestly my privilege. I've never met so many more wonderful parents than in this estrangement community. So to be their voice and fight for you guys, all of us, I feel I'm blessed. So, but thank you for saying so.
Yes. And I also want to apologize for my accent. I know I have a strong accent, but it's because I learned English very in my 40s. So it's difficult to lose that accent. But
And
I'm trying.
don't even worry about that. You know what? You're completely clear. So don't worry about that. Okay. That's as I said. I mean, it's you're very real. You're very real, and that comes through whether or not every word of yours can be understood or not. So know that. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, as I said in one of my videos, I don't know why I'm doing this in English. I guess I'm doing this in English because I feel that I'm part of this community of parents that are suffering from no contact. In the community, in the Latin community, uh, there may be some no contact parents, but this is a shame to talk about our situation. It's a shame. And in communities where they are more conservative and the values of family are so strong, it's worse, the shame that you feel like you did something that was so bad that your son or daughter doesn't want to speak with you, that erase you from your life. Is very hurtful. And the problem with no contact is that it's not just a common estrangement. No contact erase the whole family, erase all the friends. They go away, they don't tell you where they go, and you don't know what happened, why this is happening to you. And then it's the worry about if something is happening to them,
Mm.
if they are taking risk, if there are mental health problems. You don't know what's happening. Then you start asking yourself what I did that was so wrong. Am I crazy? Was I an abusive mother? How is it that I was trying to do my best every day and I was convinced, o sea, I believe that I was a great mother, that I was doing a great job, and suddenly you're the worst. So your whole life crumbled. That's what I say, that only another strange mother can understand this pain.
That is such a great point. Is that is what we estranged moms, that's what stuns us. And like that's the illogical part of this to begin with, is that we built our lives around being great moms, and all the evidence other than what they're saying points to us being great moms and dads, and then all your entire life's work ends up in this situation, and you can't understand how everything that you felt inside, and doing every little thing and loving them, so deep from your core, could end up going so awry. It's like it how do you explain that to people, when, because they don't see your every step, right? They didn't see your every step, every little thing that made the life you gave them, brought you joy to do it. How does that end up being interpreted so oppositely? Right?
Yes.
So, and I thank you for bringing out the fact that um the Latin culture too is even more quiet about this than um the Caucasian, let's say, culture, or because um because it is shameful in mainstream, like, let's just say, like, it's shameful, in just being a non-Latin white person, or an African American person. What, it's shameful to go through this within our own community. Now, when you think about the Latin culture and how close to their roots they are, and regarding family and everything, I mean, it's all about the family. To then have to be the one that doesn't have their child, I imagine, and I can only imagine to a certain degree, the additional shame. And so thank you for saying that, because that was something I hadn't thought about before, but it's something that's very relevant to your situation and many others. So now, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to say that. So go ahead now. Just keep going.
Um, what I want with my channel, my feeding on TikTok, is to express the humanity of what we are feeling as mothers, because they have forgotten that we are people too, and and we are just labeled, and we are being dehumanized because of those labels. Today, any mother, any parent can be labeled as toxic. Then, if you are toxic, you are a narcissist. Suddenly, you're being labeled a narcissist without by people that don't even know you. And I don't blame the strange adult children in reality. I blame social media, and I blame individual therapy for what is happening. Because I know my daughter. I know that she loves me. I know the relationship that we had. I know that there must be some influence. Why she changed in that way? And it's not because mental health problem, but because many people is saying she must have a mental health problem, because there are many people with mental health problems that don't go no contact. And then it's not that, it's something that she had some influence that made her do this thing. And I believe that
At
because
what age? At what age did she estrange herself?
23. And now it's 5 years of estrangement, not of no contact, which is worse than estrangement. And I feel very sad when I see new mothers on TikTok that are becoming part of this sad club that we have.
Yeah.
Because as the young woman in the video, she has a hope that things are going to get better. They get better in a way, but only another strange mother knows that the pain is going to always be there. We are going to learn how to handle the pain, how to live with the pain. But for a mother, not having your child that is alive, the pain is always going to be there.
Because I think part of that is because they come from our body. They are part of us, right? So even when we give birth to them, that umbilical cord that gets cut, that physical umbilical cord gets cut, but that emotional connection, that is the soul filled or spiritual umbilical cord, never gets cut. And so it's almost as if you have a piece of you that's just, something that's just part of you, just gone. And like, you're right, you don't know what's happening to them. You don't know when they're not in contact. You Anything could happen to them and you may never find out, and that's really hard to live with too. So and I agree with you. Now, your age of your daughter, that's not an unusual age for this. It just seems like a lot of this begins in um in when they're teenage years, or um, right around when their environment truly, and their peer groups and what have you, truly become, front and center to their life. And so what I say is, it almost happens in relation to maybe high school, the beginning of high school, and then somewhere along the way, whether it has and then it could, also be in college, or that age, that 20-year-old age, is a significant age for this to happen, because they finally are out from underneath you as far as their education goes, and now they're on their own, and they're being influenced, and by everything they're watching, their friends, this and that, and everybody said, the other side wants to say this isn't a trend. It is a trend. It's definitely a trend, and it's not just a mental health thing. I agree with you there too, because like you pointed out, it's not every child that's suffering with the only mental health issue I see here is brainwashing. It's a societal brainwashing. And I think about what she said about the dehumanization of us. Well, yes, we've been dehumanized. I think we've been dehumanized by what you pointed out, the labels. We've actually been dehumanized without even realizing it, when we've agreed to it in our society through feminism. I think feminism has, like, they've diminished the motherhood role, and so I think that's all playing into it. That's my opinion. I agree with you. I think there is a tremendous dehumanization of the significance of moms, motherhood, and so they turn around and they believe that we don't have any value after we've provided so much value, got them standing, and now they're running away. So you talk to that.
Yes, I changed my name now because I'm like exposing myself here. I don't know what I'm doing. I just start because I was tired of the silence, because that's another thing when you are an estranged parent and no contact parent. Everybody tells you just keep silent, don't do anything, because if you do anything, it's going to be worse. They are going to resent you if you do anything, if you speak. Like the girl in the video was saying, you have to be silent. You can cry, you can say anything. You have to accept that you are a bad parent. I said, take accountability. Like if we wouldn't take accountability, what is that? Is so immature to say about a parent, that you don't take accountability. We are grown up people. We know how to take accountability, most of us.
Yeah.
The only way that we shouldn't uh, take accountability is if we were really narcissists. But if we were really narcissists, we wouldn't be here uh, trying to expose this situation. We wouldn't be suffering. We wouldn't be here because I wouldn't be here because I wouldn't be suffering if I were a true narcissist.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100% right. And I think that goes back to the diminishment of what she said, where um, we are, we don't even know enough to take accountability, if it really need to take accountability. I think it goes back to the diminishment of who we are and our roles, who we are as people. They know better. We know nothing. And that's how it's spun. And, they think, I think they feel that we're less evolved than them, which is such a misnomer on their part. But I think, they're hearing that all the time, right? They're hearing it, through their social circles. They're hearing it through therapists. They're hearing it through online, social media. They're hearing it from their friends. They're in this like bubble where they think that, it used to be that we were young. We used to think our parents weren't very, we used to be like, oh, we're more evolved. But eventually we learn that your parents are definitely smarter than you, and you were the idiot, right? And but we sit here now, and these kids are aging out of that, where you are aware that you were the idiot when you said that. You were the idiot. And the question that has come up lately, to me, is what I'm going to ask you, because the fear among these parents who are coping with estrangement is that our kids have been so turned ass backwards, upside down in their thinking. They're so brainwashed. They're so that, and they're so detached, broken in many ways, that they're never going to hit that aha moment. They're never going to feel the remorse that they need to feel in order to reunify and understand and have a conversation and come to the table. And they're not going to feel that. That's a real fear among parents who are estranged right now, right? So I want to, what do you think of that? Do you think we're at that point?
I think that that's the worst thing about this trend, because they are telling them, the influencers and the therapists in individual therapy, that aren't hearing the voices of the parents. They are telling these young people, this young generation, that they are going to break the cycle. That's the word. They are cycle breakers. And they put that like is, you are a superhero, you are a
Right.
cycle breaker,
Right.
like a good thing. You're a cycle breaker, so you have to do this sacrifice, make this sacrifice,
Right.
because you are so powerful. And this generation that is suffering from many mental health problems because of social media, now they are looking for help, and they are thinking that that's what they need to do to be happy, to recover from all this depression and anxiety they are suffering. But we, as adults, we grow up, we understand that that is not going to happen, that we are going to miss our parents,
Yeah.
that time that they stay away from their family and their parents, it's time that they are losing from having that support. We
Right.
know that we need the support of our parents and our family through our life. When we are young, we think that we are super powerful, that we can do everything, that we are not gonna get sick. We were going to do everything right
Right.
through our life. When we are in our 50s,
Right.
we go back and we understand how valuable family is.
Yeah.
And knowing that they don't have that, it adds to our trauma, because now we are people living this trauma of being estranged parents.
Yeah. I also think that they've been sold a bill of goods, because um, social media has sold it to them in many ways, and society has sold it to them in many ways, that you can swap out one family for another.
Yep.
You can swap out your parents for your in-laws and not never see your parents again, and they're just as good. You can swap out your sisters and brothers for, you know, friends that supposed friends you make on the internet. You can swap it out. Your friends are, and that's such a falsehood. And yet they really do believe that they can be. You can swap out your blood for non-blood, and it's just as good. And you know why? Because they're being told it all the time. Look at the internet. They have all these false friends through TikTok, Instagram, Meta, what have you, whatever they're using, right? All these Snap. Um, they can swap out, and they really do believe that these people are there, closer than blood. And the reality is, these people, if they pass them by on the street, they wouldn't know them from Adam, so to speak, right? Um, but what they're giving up in that belief is the same person or people that would honestly be the very only ones to lay down their lives if they needed to, because or risk their lives, especially mothers, because they already did it once. They risked their lives in giving birth to these same people, right? To bring their life into being, we risked our lives. And they don't even seem to get that. They don't see it.
Because they are being brainwashed. Let's call it cognitive distortions. They are being fed many cognitive distortions that you can replace family, that you're going to be happy, and your partner in life is going to be there for forever, and you won't need the family. That's a false hope, because the true unconditional love that we have in our life is our family, our parents. You can have a husband today, a boyfriend today. Tomorrow you don't know. That person, something happened, and that person goes away from your life. Then
Right.
what you did to your mother? You
Right.
just abandon your mother for that person, or your father, or your entire family, because you are believing that that person is going to love you unconditionally. That with life we understand that
Right.
that relationships can break through our life, and
Right.
somebody that was the most important person in your life in one age, eh, eh, one stage of your life, suddenly from one day to the other something happens, and you have to go on with your life, and you will meet other people that will be important in your life too. The
Right.
people that is going to be with you all your life are your parents and your family.
Right.
But we understand that when we are older. It seems
Right.
like these young people, they are not understanding that.
No, and in fact, it's a big deal with regards to estrangement and what I call married-ins, right? Where, your son or daughter marries someone and they now define it as they're the family, and the actual original family needs to center their entire existence around the small unit. You don't marry into families anymore. You become the family, and the family has to then figure out. And look, okay, but the reality is, if you look at it that way, it's almost if you're saying to the larger family on both sides that, you know what? I don't need your help. I don't need your defenses except when I demand it of you. And then if you don't do it in the right way, then you're out. And that's happening. And then what happens? 10 years, 15 years down the road, they divorce. And all of a sudden, the family is supposed to be like, oh, they come back to the family like, oh, I made a mistake. You're right, you made a mistake, but now you want us to help you. That's how it's going in a lot of ways. And they don't seem to understand that. They don't even understand that having both sides of the family involved could actually potentially help you avoid a divorce because of the wisdom on both sides of the family with regards to relationships, right? It's so crazy. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the parents, again, mothers, especially, I say it because I'm a mother, but are dismissed. So it's made to be very easy to be dismissed today as a mother and to be devalued as a mother. And it's incredible how this is happening. And people are denying that it's happening. People are denying the pain of it. People are, the cruelty around this from estranged adult kids in many cases towards the parents that are speaking out. That is huge, the cruelty. Whether or not it's because they don't want to have the other side spoken about, whether or not they are embarrassed by what the parents are saying because they know that it's true, whether or not they don't want to face the consequences of their actions, you know, whether or not they don't feel like they have any control over what the parent says, because that whole thing is all about control, right? It's control the narrative, control. Well, once a parent goes rogue, you leave, the parent goes rogue and starts telling their truth, like, and there's no control, so they get angry. In many cases, they get angry. I don't know if you're seeing, but I'm definitely seeing it.
Yes, but what I am also seeing is that this has become a business for therapists, pop therapists. I am not saying that all therapists are the same, but there are unethical therapists on YouTube and on social media that are looking for followers. And
Yeah.
it has become a business. They are offering services, selling books, keeping followers, and they are making a profit from this trend. So that's why it's so difficult that this the that we can have a change in the narrative, because it's being fueled constantly, because by all these influencers and therapists that are in individual therapy, applying individual therapy, but they are not taking into account that there's another side, a side of the problem, and they are not addressing what therapists call rupture and repair, because of course we will have problems with our relationships through our life,
Right.
because we are all imperfect human beings.
Right.
We are we are all make somebody suffer because something we say we did, and they also are going to make the other people suffer, because that's part of being a human being.
Right.
But they are not the therapists today, they are not addressing the pop therapy is not addressing rupture and repair. If you look, you make a search, rupture and repair, you are not going to find anything. Just thanks, I think that thanks to the community of strange parents that is growing up so fast, especially on TikTok. Some therapists are starting to, family therapists are starting to speak about this problem. But as parents, we are the ones that need to push our stories,
Yeah.
because we need to address this, and we need to be visible. We need to stop being silent,
Right.
because that shame just is fueling the trend, because we are silent. The only ones that are speaking are the strange adult children that are very proud of what they are doing, because they are acting like they are in a cult.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good analogy. That's very true. There was a therapist on my program a couple weeks ago. Her name is Christine Droney, and just this morning she put out a video warning about the monetization of estrangement by um, through in the therapy culture and many other books and what have you. And her warning was basically be careful who you're listening to and be careful of the messages that you're ingesting. The monetization of estrangement has become huge, and that's true. That is absolutely true, and what you're saying is absolutely true. That some therapists are really cashing in on and their backstop of whether they're book companies or what have you. They're cashing in on it. And that's not to say that some therapists aren't really good and really doing the work and really helping. Absolutely. Um, and if you could find one of them, they're like a needle in a haystack. But if you do find one, share that person, because we need them within our community. And I myself too. Yesterday, I received a message from um, an estranged adult kid that is also an estranged parent now, needing help. And I work very hard at trying not to monetize, and whether it be, and she wanted to talk to me, and I offered like nothing, like you don't have to pay me to talk to me, because there's just so many other people out there trying. And if you don't care for my book, I'll give you one. I was like, that's the way because I think this is bigger than money. This is a much bigger issue than money. And And I don't think the parents on here working towards the end of solving it, they're not just doing it for themselves, they're doing it for their future generations, because the first estrangement leads to 7 more cycles of it in a family. So when you're going estranged, adult kids, you better realize that decision is going to affect 7 generations from you. So you better be really sure, because you're deciding upon the lives of many, many people in your one decision. And I see that, and I'm glad you brought it up, because it's a huge issue. This monetization is and there are some names that are very synonymous with this epidemic, right? So I don't know. I think you're right. I think we definitely have garnered a presence in social media. Very like over the last year, I've only been doing this for about a year and a few months, and I see a huge difference in the number of parents that are speaking out and trying to share their stories, like you and me. So that's good. I don't know where it's going to lead, though. That's the thing. Can we turn back? Do you think this can be fixed?
Yes, if us as an estranged parents community, we start sharing our experiences and what all the knowledge that we have about this situation, um, we will make the online community of journalists to expose what is happening, because we need to have that voice. We need to, and we need numbers, a lot of parents, because no one is believing what is happening, because we are silent. Everybody's telling us to be silent. If you go to therapy, they telling you just don't do anything, because everything that you do is going to be worse. And you don't want to share your sadness with your friends and your family, and you try to to be positive, but that's doing nothing. I think that what I'm doing this is because what I was thinking is that all this pain, I'm going through this for 5 years, all this pain that I'm going through, but I'm going through this by myself, because I cannot be sad with all the people around me. I have to put a brave face, a good face for the community, because what I'm doing, I cannot share my sadness. And all all this suffering for nothing. One day we are in our 50s. One day something happened. I am not going to be in this war. Nobody's gonna know what you went through.
Right.
It's like you're being raised. The 20 years, 20 plus years that you dedicated to having a child and giving that child the best of you are erased by no contact.
Yeah.
So when you are in your 50s and you see, maybe I am not going to be in this world, nobody's going to know that this is happening to me and to many other parents. So we need to speak.
Yeah.
We need to be brave, like you are doing, and that's why I'm so grateful for you.
Well, I'm grateful for you too. And I think that you're exactly right. And I think that I'm going to bring God into this, because I'm a believer. I think that if God didn't think that we can't fix this, we wouldn't have found our voices. And I think that that's something that I think it can be changed. I just think, like you, we need the numbers. We have the numbers. You needed the numbers to start speaking up. And like you expressed in the beginning, the shame at a baseline, is hard. Society shames you. you know, because of and I see it all the time. It's like it's continuous. You must have done something. Your kid just doesn't leave a good parent. You know, that's so. Oh, hang on for a second. I'm gonna have to move. This is like I'm sorry. This has become such an event. But it's become an event. This podcast. So sorry about that. But
No, okay.
I think that it's that is such a again another misnomer. And yeah, yes, kids, good, adult kids leave good parents. Adult kids leave great parents. Adult kids leave loving parents. Adult kids leave parents who tried to twist themselves into a pretzel to make sure that they got everything that they needed, and you supported them in their independence, and you didn't want to diminish their importance and their growth or development. So yeah, adult kids do. They leave. In this day and age, they leave good parents. Now, that doesn't to say that every parent was good. Some parents were terrible. Some parents were abusive, neglectful, but that's not who we're talking about. And they leave parents like you. They leave parents who woke up in the middle of the night when their child was vomiting and got the bucket and heated up the warm towel or the cold towel and put it on their heads. They leave parents that waited for them to come home at night. They leave parents that wanted nothing than to give them a better life than they had. Right?
Yes, and that's why I am saying that I don't blame so much the adult children as how I blame social media and the therapists, because what is happening here is that they have lowered uh, what is abuse so much, what can be considered as an abuse so much. Anything can be abused, then
It's a catch
anything
basin.
becomes a motive.
Yeah, it's a catch basin. That
Yes,
word is catch basin.
the pole has been lowered so much that any can be considered as an abuse. Then these kids, they really believe that they have been abused. So what are they doing to the mind of these young people?
Yeah.
Just think about that. If somebody is telling me that I have been abused, but I didn't notice, I didn't knew that I was abused, but that they are making you rethink your life to find an abuse that maybe wasn't there, but they believe they have been abused.
No, they look for what they look for what they look for it. They'll look for it. If you think it's there, you can look for it, right? It's like a therapist is never going to look for what went right in your life. They're going to look for what went wrong. That's what they do, right?
Yes.
Just like doctors look for problems because that's what they do. They're supposed to, right? um, I think they look. It's the same. It's the same thing. I go back to, and I hate to say it, but I go back to the feminism, and they taught women you do not need a man, right? So they shredded the family, right? They did that. Now they're saying you do not need your parents, so they shred the family. They shred the family. They shred the foundation of the person, and they insert themselves as the foundation. And now
I
therapists have
see,
become yeah,
I see a lot of misogynism online. I
yeah.
think that we need to understand that who are behind the online community. There are young people behind the because they are the ones who know how to the technology for all of that.
Right.
And sadly, um, the effect of social media in many people that is behind this technology is that the hate towards women, and this is part of the hate because you don't see, if you look, make a search about toxic parents, you're going to find a lot of toxic mothers,
Yeah.
a lot of articles talking about the toxic mothers. You don't see many of them talking about the toxic father. So this is misogynistic. This is a hate towards women. But what is worse is that this hate towards women is affecting the young generations of women. That's what in many comments I say that no contact is a is a cult, it's a trend,
Yeah.
and is a misogynistic trend.
Do you know what? It's so interesting you said that. I love that you did this turn because I wrote an article one time and on how estrangement is actually part of the war on women.
Yes.
I think it is. And who better to sell the war on women inadvertently than women and children?
Yes, to young women. They
Yeah.
are selling this misogynism to young women. So you see, because who are very active in these communities, in social media communities, young women.
Right.
So they are selling all this misogynism to young women against their mothers. But
Right.
what they are doing is something that is against them too, because they are going to be old someday. They are going to be mothers someday.
Yeah.
But they are using women against women.
Well, they may not even be mothers someday. Honestly, the way we're going, so many young women are saying no to motherhood. And you know what? Having children, adult kids online saying, "Oh, well, my mother was terrible, and my mother was this." I have friends my age group that never had children. They look at me now, in my situation, you know, um, and certainly I have, one child estranged, not I have four that are still with me, but they're saying, I used to envy you for having so many kids. Now I'm so glad I didn't have a child. So that message is now out there too, right? So, and these young people are looking and they're saying, I'm maybe I'm not going to have, economically it's difficult to do it. I don't know the advantage of it. I'm loving my life by myself. I don't want to be a guy because he's a weight. I don't have a guy in my life because he's a weight. And so, I can do everything by myself and have a happy life. Maybe I'm not going to have a kid. And that's why, our reproduction in the U.S. is dropping like a stone in the middle of an ocean. So it could be that they'll never experience the joy of having a. And I think you and I could actually even say that even though we go through this, even though we're sitting in this position, would you have given up having a child? No, me neither. I would do it all over again.
Yes, and I love every day of being with my child. I have a good child. I had a good child. She behaved very well. She was a pretty in every sense. A very sweet child. That's why the surprise is so big.
Yeah.
What's happening? What happened here? But one thing that I wanted to take advantage of your interview is that I want to denounce the a page, a site, the CPTDS Foundation. I don't know if you have heard about that site.
Yeah.
You can see in that site that is supposedly a foundation to help young people, they have the tips for going no contact with parents.
I've seen a few sites like that. Really, they do.
Yes. And you see all the narrative. That's why I started my TikTok with the talking points of no contact, because it's absurd that all this narrative, the young people are believing what they are hearing. But if sites like that are they make drawings of children, you see that this is focused on children. The
Yeah,
message of no contact with parents
yeah,
nowadays is being focused on children. So they are brainwashing children since very young age, since they are teenagers,
yeah.
to want to contact when they are adults. So, and they have the tips and the stage to go no contact with parents. And it is not a coincidence that if you look for the most search words on TikTok, some of the most search words that have to be with estrangement is a stage to go no contact with parents. They are learning since they are teenagers how they are going to go no contact when they are adults. So
It's
we need to denounce therapists, and we need to denounce all these sites, because we need to bring attention to what they are doing.
Can you send me the link to that site, please? So I wanna share that.
Yes.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because I saw that there are sites out there that have tips and tricks and even templates for letters that you can write your parent email to go no contact. That's insane. It's
No,
insane.
and in that site, they tell you that you don't need to explain why. They know why.
Yeah. Oh my
And it's a trap that it's a lose-lose situation for parents, because they do not have a path toward reconciliation. They the objective, final objective, is to cut your parents from your life
God.
without giving an opportunity for reconciliation. So we as parents, when our children go no contact, we are trying to wait for them, to talk to them, to send them emails, send them gifts, while they know that they are not coming back, and they don't tell you they are not coming back. So this is like a torture.
Yeah.
How is that this strategy is coming from therapists? How is that this strategy is coming from sites and foundations that are claiming that they are helping the mental health of the problems in mental health of young adults?
Yeah.
But you see in all those sites that
Yeah.
they have links to services.
Yeah, they're equipped. It's like
Treatment.
it's like we're a dinghy in the middle of the ocean as these strange adult parents, and going against like a steamship that's been driving for a while.
Yeah.
I thank you again for bringing that up. Send me that link. I got to get going in this, but you know what? You need to come back because you're like a wealth of information. You're such a pleasant person. I really applaud what you're doing. And please, will you come back, please? Because I really,
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
of
And
course,
again, thank you for all the things that you are doing for the strange parent community.
it's my pleasure. I get to meet people like you. And if our kids never come back, and I hope that's not the case, pray. But I've met a whole lot of really wonderful parents, along the way that are unfortunately suffering, and you being one of them. So, thank you. I will send you all the links and everything. Send me that link too. And I'll talk with you soon. Okay. I really will. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Monica Fuentes. She brought up a lot of great points, right? There's so many prongs to this that that she just touched upon, and that Warren woman is definitely one of them. So I'm sorry we're all over. It's been a crazy thing. I had water coming through my roof. So my actual office is under construction again. But let me just say something. I'm going to pull up my book, and this is something that there's Doormat Mom No More. And I do want to talk about this for a second, right? The monetization of estrangement is real. And I've always said, and I've said it in my group, and I've said it online, and I've said it in many different places. If you cannot not afford to buy the book, and I made it very, very low cost, right? Because, frankly, I'm not in this, the money. All the money that I do make from the book goes back to promoting and expanding awareness around this issue. If you can't afford the book, just send me an email, send me a note through this, and we will get you a copy. All right. That's really important. We need to fight this fight together. And, a couple of dollars should not stand in the way of educating, helping, comforting any parent. So there you go. I had to say that. All righty, that's the end of this podcast. I know we went well over what we normally do, but I think it was well worth it. And I will see you once again, not next week because I'm traveling next week. I will probably see you after Thanksgiving. So maybe earlier. All right, thanks again. And if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. If I do, I'll say it again. All right. And see you soon.